Yuga Labs is back at it again. We have news around Ape Coin Staking that has some people, myself included, more than a little frustrated. We also had an announcement surrounding the trial of Jimmy the Monkey, the next point on the BAYC roadmap that we've been desperately waiting for more information about. Before we jump into today's show, please like the stream, subscribe to our channel, head to FLOLiO.com for all of your NFT marketplace needs. Nothing we say today is financial advice. Please do your own research. Dan, how you doing on this lovely Tuesday? We got all sorts of BAYC news that I want to jump in with you today.
I'm doing good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say. The trial of Jimmy the Monkey has been a long-awaited roadmap feature, and it's been like the first roadmap feature in like half a year or something coming from Bored Ape Yacht Club. So I'm definitely looking forward.
Yeah, I'll pull up the. I'll see if I can find the roadmap real quick, and I'll pull that up. Let's start with Ape Coin Staking because that is the point of contention I want to discuss the most. So we've known that Ape Coin Staking is coming. The initial plan was for the site to go live yesterday, apestake.io, being built out by Horizon Labs. There were a lot of questions surrounding it once the news broke, last month about the SEC probe into Yuga Labs, which those of us who've been around for a while knew that was happening. And it wasn't a huge shock to us, but a lot of people didn't know about it. So on Wednesday night, and this is what the first thing that really pissed me off. Wednesday night, Horizon Labs drops a piece of news, and I'll pull up what they shared that night on the screen right here. So they put out this piece of information talking about how, where the heck did it go? Give me 1 second. So they put out a piece basically saying like, hey, we have some updates to Ape Coin Staking. The site is still coming along. It's going to be live soon, but here's a little bit of new information. And part of that new information was that American and Canadian citizens are going to be geo-blocked from using the site. So you can go to Horizon Labs Twitter page and pull up this document. It talks about how it's an open source smart contract. There's a front end interface that Horizon Labs built out, apestake.io, how there are going to be third party interfaces that other sites can be built to use this contract, because what was approved in the AIP was the creation of a smart contract that allowed for Ape Coin Staking, as well as staking your apes, mutants, and subsequently dogs to earn additional rewards. Now, if you look at the AIP, it also mentions building out the website. So it wasn't just about the smart contract. The front end was included in it. This changed, however, I think primarily due to the SEC probe. And in this, the last part of it is kind of tough to see. I recommend you go read it on your own. It says that apestake.io will be available to users in most countries. However, users in the following countries or regions will be geo-blocked: United States, Canada, North Korea, Syria, Iran, Cuba, Russia, Crimea, Donetsk, and Luhansk. So, great company that the good old US of A gets put in there with the North Koreans and the Russians and Syria. You got to love it. And so the timing of this news just got me so mad, because it was released at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time the night before Thanksgiving, which Thanksgiving is a major U.S. holiday. That is 100% the kind of thing you do when you don't want to draw attention to something. You hope that it just gets swept under the rug and that people don't pay as much attention to it. Well, guess what? They underestimated that the NFT people have no lives whatsoever, and we're totally staying on top of this. And so that was the first thing that really pissed me off, was the fact that they did such a sleazy way of announcing this news. They didn't host like a Twitter Spaces. First off, there was a Twitter Spaces 2 weeks ago where they could have brought this up, because I know there is a 1% chance, I guess, that this was a recent development in the last 2 weeks. They could have discussed this when they had their Twitter Spaces a few weeks ago. They could have hosted another Twitter Spaces maybe earlier in the week before the holiday was starting. They could have put out a video explaining it, knowing that people were going to be upset about it. And ApeCoin, the Twitter account for ApeCoin, put out a tweet like, well, US people can still do this, kind of like a nudge to them. And to me, I understand that with all the uncertainty around this SEC probe, they had to be more, a little bit more careful.
Yeah.
At the same time, we don't know what's going to happen to Americans or Canadians if they use this workaround and these third-party sites to stake ApeCoin. And that's why I have no intention of doing it until we have clarification. Like, I'm not willing to potentially commit a securities violation if it turns out that this is against the law. Like, it's not worth the Ape coin that I would earn if it meant that like I could get seriously fined or go to jail. And for people who would be like, oh, you're being ridiculous, there's no way they would do that. I don't trust the government at all to not do that. We saw that the man who created Tornado Cash, he was arrested by U.S. authorities, not in the United States. Like, they went in the Netherlands, across the world, to take this guy into custody. He's still in custody. It's been months without any sort of like formal hearings. And I know that he was the creator of it, but at the same time, it just goes to show that like, we don't know how far, the reach can be extended to bring people in if they want to do it. And I'm just not willing to risk that.
Yeah. And it's quite shocking because I'm willing to bet that that people from the United States, that they're by far the highest percent of holders for Bored Ape Yacht Club. Like, I'm pretty certain that's true, right? So the fact that all those people, so they can't stake then, right, for the Ape coin?
They can stake if they use one of these other websites. So I saw that there's already one site that is up that will allow you to stake from the United States. It's just not the official apestake.io. So you're still able to stake it. You're still able to get your return. I'm guessing you can hear my kid squeaking over here. He sounds like a little chipmunk. He's also very upset that I can't use apestake.io because he does not want me to go to jail in case that, things go down this way. So we got that going on. So, I'm curious. And I, as an American, I do not expect, I know that we get made fun of and everyone's like, oh, Americans don't realize that there's other parts of the world. Some people are like, oh, they should delay staking. And I'm like, no, they shouldn't delay staking. That isn't the right thing to do for every other Bored Ape Yacht Club holder who isn't in America or Canada or North Korea or Syria or Russia, whatever. There's so many other holders around the world. They shouldn't be punished for this. So I don't think by any means they should delay staking. I just think that they should have, like, the communication here, once again, I know that Horizon Labs, and I got into it with some other ape holders. I know that Horizon Labs is not owned by Yuga. I know that ApeCoin DAO is not technically owned by Yuga, but Yuga did start ApeCoin. They were the creators of it. They launched ApeCoin DAO. And so to some extent, Yuga should be involved in the communication of this. I get that with the investigation going on, maybe they can't be. Their lawyers said, like, no, you can't be talking about this. But the fact that the communication was this poor, I think, speaks negatively about Yuga and had me pretty frustrated once again because there was poor communication. And, the next day on Thanksgiving in the US, they announced the trial of Jimmy the Monkey. I'm not so sure that wasn't, specifically to pull the heat away from the Ape Coin staking decision. I don't know if I believe that they were always planning on announcing that news on Thanksgiving Day, or if they were planning on doing it this week, saw the blowback from Ape Staking, we're like, hey, we need to calm people down. Let's go ahead and announce this now.
Yeah. So talk to me about Jimmy the Monkey's trial. So what are you expecting for that event?
So that's a really interesting question. I do not know. So as I look for the roadmap here, on the Bored Ape Yacht Club roadmap, we first got introduced to Jimmy the Monkey last year on Roadmap 1. And for those who weren't around back then, the final portion of the Bored Ape Yacht Club roadmap was a treasure hunt. And you got to go and go into the yacht club and do this treasure hunt. And you're trying to catch Jimmy the Monkey. So that was our first introduction to him. Once the treasure hunt, someone finished it, he was caught, and then the story was kind of like put on pause. We then got what is now on the screen here, the second roadmap. Now, on the roadmap, you can see in the top left, there's that monkey. That's Jimmy in chains. He's got a little paw print under his name where it says the trial of Jimmy the Monkey. It also, if you zoom in on it, says MD versus MMI prologue. As you go into the roadmap, this next part with like that monkey fist, MD versus MMI, also a paw print. And then you see this robot leg here at the bottom. It looks like a dog's leg. Also MD versus MMI final battle. We don't know what those abbreviations stand for. We do know that the Bored Ape kennel dogs are involved to some extent. Okay. So we're not really sure what the trial of Jimmy the Monkey is. Is it some sort of interactive game? Is it just a piece of entertainment that we watch, like a 3-part series maybe? We're not totally sure. Now, from the leaked Bored Ape Yacht Club pitch deck, we do see that it's expected that there's some form of like monetization of Bored Ape kennel dogs, and that has led to speculation and therefore the price of those going up. So the announcement was made on Thursday that the trial begins Christmas Day, which I think is going to be, which is interesting. So like I said, and I'll pull up the official announcement right here as well. I'll share that because it is pretty cool. And one of the members of the team was like, I see a lot of great theories out there about what this is going to be, but none of you have any clue what's coming. So, I'm hoping that's not just like them trying to get people hyped up. I hope there's actually like something legitimately new and different. So if we go here, this was, the picture that was tweeted out. We can see over on the right-hand side of the box, there is an ape. There's a little dog running with him. And then there's another ape on a horse. They have swords. On the left side of the box, and this is what I'm not really too sure of, we have an ape fighting some sort of creature. I don't know if it's a dragon or what it may be, but clearly there's some sort of battle that is going to be getting started here. Dickens is over here. Mecca Dog versus Mecca Mutant. That's the I believe, is Invasion. So we don't know if it's like Invasion. So it's like Mecca Dog versus some people said like Mega Mutant Invasion could be a possibility for the abbreviations there. Either way, I think it's going to be something pretty cool. And, I've gone back and forth. There's some people who hope it is an airdrop of some kind, so they get another NFT that they can sell. I don't know if I feel that way. I don't know if I want to. I just want something cool, quite honestly. Like, I want something fun and different that we haven't seen before, not just another NFT. Like, if I don't get anything out of this that I can sell, that's fine. I don't care. I've gotten enough things from Yuga between Dog, Mutant, Ape Coin, other deeds. Like, I've gotten enough shit from them that I can sell, that I just want something fun that shows that they're, being innovative. Because right now, for the long-term benefit of Bored Ape Yacht Club and Yuga, and honestly the NFT space as a whole, I would rather them do something really cool that everyone can enjoy, as opposed to something that just enriches the holders. Like, I think that is more important for the long-run viability of the NFT space.
No, I would agree. I mean, I don't hold anything from, well, I do hold other sites, but I don't have like a Bored Ape or anything like that. But I can imagine that, especially with what Yuga has said recently, they were talking about how these airdrop things, they're no longer cool. So they used to do that a long time ago, and everyone was like, whoa, that's so so crazy and new. Nowadays, things are different, right? They need to expand their ecosystem. They need to expand on their story. And hopefully this is that's exactly what they're going to do with all this, the assumed invasion.
Yeah, Gordon, one of the founders, has said that he's tired of doing like low effort stuff. He wants to do cool things. The one thing I've heard from the Mecca Dog side that I would be on board with is the idea that you could, if you have a Bored Ape Kennel Club, that you could burn it and then get a Mecca Dog instead, so that it's a different version of your dog, but it doesn't add to the supply. I think that's kind of a cool idea. They just recently acquired Yuga Labs, who are the creators of 10KTF. 10KTF has done a great job with storytelling. That acquisition has been, I'm sure, many months in the works. And I'm guessing that Yuga Labs has been working. I hope that Yuga Labs has been working on something. Like, we've seen them put out shorter videos on the 10KTF page telling the 10KTF story of Wagmi-san that have been like, 1 to 3 minute videos. I think it'd be great if they took their storytelling ability and they expanded it out. And this was some part of sort of 3-part series that maybe are like 15 to 20 minute episodes that go into the backstory. And then maybe at the end of it, there's like some sort of playable thing. We also know, this was announced back in March, that Enway Games is developing some sort of Bored Ape Yacht Club game that is not related to Other Side. Now, in the teaser for that, and let me see if I can find that as well real quick. Give me 1 second. In the teaser for that, you see Curtis, who is like the main ape that's featured. He was featured in the Other Side trailer video. You see him like in his room with a mecha ape. And so there's the thought that maybe that is related to it. Maybe we could be seeing the beginning of that game. We also know that in the most recent Other Side video, they mentioned that later in Q4 there'd be something involved. So maybe for the trial of Jimmy the Monkey, it takes place in Other Side. Maybe it's an actual trial that you go to and it's interactive that way. Like, there's a lot of really cool theories out there, a lot of cool things it could be. But at the end of the day, I just want it to be something like that is a lot of fun, and preferably not just for Bored Ape holders. Like, if there's a little something extra for Bored Ape holders, Kennel Dog holders, cool. But I would love if people outside of the Bored Ape ecosystem who, understandably cannot afford one of these assets can get in on the fun. Like, that to me is more important. I think that I know some people are all for like the exclusive shit. That's not me. I would rather like more people enjoy it, because right now, the NFT space is not as big as it was, 6-8 months ago. Yeah. Let's get everyone in on the fun and just like have a good time here.
Yeah, and fun is the keyword there as well. It needs to be fun, right? Whatever happens, it doesn't need to be profitable for people joining in on the fun. As long as it's some kind of cool experience, something that kind of lets you know more about the project. All that kind of stuff is really beneficial for Bored Ape Yacht Club. So yeah, I'm looking forward. It's like a month off still, but when it does happen, I'm looking forward.
Yeah, it's going to be, I think it's going to be really cool. I hope that they do something very unique. I'm going to pull up, because I do want to talk about the market side of things, because the market reacted very positively. The run on Bored Ape Kennel Dogs was pretty crazy over the weekend. And I want to kind of look at, some of the metrics we have over on FLOLiO that I think speak to that as well. So I'm going to pull that up now. Head to FLOLiO.com to check out all of our free NFT marketplace tools. So if we look here, this is the number of unique holders. And we can see that when that announcement was made, we saw a big spike up in unique holders. If we look at it from the 1 week, we got a nice little jump right there. If we head to volume, it was pretty low, and then it jumped pretty high. So I want to say that, that was easily the biggest volume day over the last month. Let's go to the last 6 months. One of the bigger, probably our about second or third highest volume day. And this was just on OpenSea. So if we add in the other marketplaces, Blur, X2, Y2, it was probably the highest volume day for Kennel Dogs in the last 6 months. So I think that's pretty strong as well. We saw the floor price get almost to 7. It's retraced a bit. Now it's in the low 6s. But, just last week, you could get a Kennel Dog for 4.5 ETH. I actually ended up selling one of my most rare Kennel Dog. It was a laser I won that I got last year. I sold it for like 10 ETH. We gotten it for 5.2, but it kind of worked out very well because we made ETH on it, but we lost US dollars. So we're going to be able to count that as a loss on taxes at the end of the year, which I am A-okay with. Like, I know this is important. This is a broader strokes thing real quick, but if you're at the point where you've made money on the year in NFTs and you can sell for an ETH gain, but $1 loss, if that impacts your taxes, just do it. And then you can buy back in. There's no, as of right now, there's no wash trading rule in NFTs or crypto. So just something to keep in mind. Back to the Bored Ape Yacht Club. We saw a good run on apes as well. Just recently, I've seen sales for apes going at like 46 when there was panic around the Bend DAO liquidations. The floor got back up to like 73 over the last few days. It's pulled back to just under 70 now. But, that's just another example of people were panicking. I get that it's been tough lately. But, another example of selling on emotion is usually not your best bet. Like, you could have bought one of those apes for 50 ETH, which is, I know is a lot of money, 50 ETH a few weeks ago, turned around and sold it for a 20 ETH profit after holding it for like 14 days. Like, there's a reason why Yuga's near the top. If this doesn't go well, then I think that's problematic. But for now, I don't like their poor communication. They've discussed that they're working on that they have someone coming onto the team. That alone, the fact that wasn't a bigger priority and they didn't have somebody sooner kind of blows my mind, but that's neither here nor there. So, I'm excited for the trial of Jimmy the Monkey. as we get updates, we'll continue to pass those along. I'm not sure if we're going to find out a whole lot more between now and Christmas, but it is, promises to be something pretty cool.
Yeah, very exciting stuff. I hope it is as big as you think it is, maybe including the other side as well, because then I'll be able to join for sure, because I have one other side. Looking forward to it, definitely.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, the most recent other side video mentioned that the next part of the journey would be taking place later in Q4. And we're coming up on we're in the last 5 weeks of the year. So there's not a whole lot of time left for them to live up. And they, one thing about Yuga is when they commit to a timetable, they do get there. So it wouldn't surprise me if they were combining that promise of the next part of other side journey is in the end of Q4, and Trial of Jimmy the Monkey is at obviously the end of Q4. If those things, merged and you had to be in the other side to participate in the trial.
I think that sounds plausible.
So that's, of all the theories so far, that's probably the one that I think is the most likely to happen, is that it takes place in other side. And we do know that, eventually in other side, you will have avatars of your apes and even other NFT projects that will, be how you get around other side. Maybe it's one of those things where if you have a dog, you'll be able to take your dog into the Trial of Jimmy the Monkey with you, and that's involved somehow. And if you don't have one, you can still go, but you're not able to do quite as much as if you had a dog. I think something like that's probably fairly likely.
Yeah, and knowing the other side, like if it is happening in the other side, which is plausible, I can already imagine like 20,000 people sitting in like this like virtual court, going over like literally Jimmy the Monkey's case, and everyone can like vote or something, and then that somehow impacts the lore like moving forward. I think that's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah. I mean, the first other side journey had like 4,500 participants in it, and if this is going to be the next part of it, and there's something to do, like something additional to do, related to the journey, I think that would get a lot of people in there as well. I think it'd probably crack 5,000, maybe even get up to close to 10,000.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree.
All right, awesome. Any final thoughts on that before we wrap up for the day, Dan?
No, I think I'm good. I think you need to give your baby a little hug or something.
Yeah, he and I are going to hang out. We're going to watch USA play Iran here in a few minutes. See if the USA did the Netherlands advance in the World Cup? Or are they going to the knockout stage? Okay.
Yeah. So if the US comes second place, then we have to battle.
Oh, would we be playing you guys in the knockout round? Oh God, that's gonna be terrible for me.
No, you guys are gonna win for sure. So because the Netherlands isn't looking too hot. So
I was pleasantly surprised with how Team USA looked against England. Like they played pretty well, although their last play of the game, where they could have, where they had that free kick, was just like a terrible play. I don't know what they were doing there. Just like kind of kicking it off to the side and calling, like, just take the free kick, just throw one up there and just see what miracle can happen. But what they did was just terrible. So hopefully they can beat Iran. That'd be great to see them move on to the knockout stage and play Netherlands. Oh boy, that'll be quite the contentious experience here on the show.
No, definitely. If we lose, then I don't know if I'm gonna come on the show, because I would have to hear you talk about the US all day. I think
I show up on the following show just like totally cut like head to toe, painted like the US flag. I'm shooting off bottle rockets here in the house. I got an eagle on my shoulder, the whole thing.
I love it.
My wife's looking at me. She's shaking her head like, you will not be shooting fireworks off in our house. She's probably right. I wouldn't do that. That's dangerous. Okay, that's going to wrap it up for today, everybody. Thank you for being here. Reminder, it takes 10 seconds. Like today's stream, subscribe to our channel. If you can give us another 10 seconds and share it out, that is amazing. We appreciate it. And head to FLOLiO.com for all of your NFT news or NFT needs. We'll be back on Friday with more marketplace news. Going to discuss everything that's happened in the NFT market over the last week. There's a lot to talk about. We've seen some solid price action, so I'm looking forward to seeing how the rest of the week goes, and we'll talk to you on Friday, everybody. For Daniel, for the entire team at FLOLiO, I am Jeremy. Have a great day. We will see you next time.
Bye-bye.